good evening. I'm Oral Gibbes, and welcome to Oral Gibbes Live, coming to you live here from World Star Studios at Amsterdam Shopping Center. And tonight we have a very interesting topic that we're going to speak about. And with us for the first time on the program is, this gentleman, Mr. Arun Jagtiani, right?
That's correct.
And we also have this gentleman here. We know him as Bushman, Mr. Roland, Bushman Joe, right?
Ja, Rastafari.
All right, so gentlemen, welcome to the program, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Give thanks for having us here.
Yeah, give thanks.
The last time I was at a seminar you all had at Bel-Air Community Center.
Yes.
And it was about legalizing marijuana, right? And since that time, I invited Bushman here. So I called him again and said, look, let's do a follow-up to see what's going on. So tonight we have him along with you, right?
Pleasure to be here.
Good to have you here. Now, the thing about it is, who's going to go first? You, Bushman?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Because the thing is that there's been a lot of talk about marijuana. We see what's happened in the United States and to some extent in the Caribbean. But how you feel about it and how you view people's opinion of legalizing marijuana when you look back to the last seminar that you had to now?
Okay, let me give thanks for life. First of all, people getting conscious every day, and still we get some people who don't understand yet what the purpose we're fighting for. You understand? And what you want to show them, bring in front. Because marijuana is just a herb. And it's a medicine. But anything that that you abuse will, it's not good for you. I mean, we come now to see all over the world people talking and fighting to legalize marijuana. We say, no, let me come together. Everybody know I am a smoker. But like Arun, he don't smoke, and different other people, Dan, Dr. Dan, and so, they don't smoke. We come together and we say, let me see, bring some presentation, see how people can react, and see how far we can reach with this, because it will be good for St. Martin. Because people say the smoking harm is harmless, is danger for you. But locking you up for a spliff is more danger for you. Yeah. You understand? I mean, that's why we give thanks we could have got a chance to come, let's say, in this congregation with you tonight.
Yes.
And so we can touch different topics and get a view from the people. I mean, because we're planning to go parliamentarian, where we send a letter for them already. We're waiting for them to respond, so we can go bring our presentation to the parliamentarian, medical-wise, recreational-wise, sacramental-wise, to see how far we can reach. But we're still waiting for the answer.
All right. So let me ask, Arun, how did you get involved with Bushman?
Yeah. So that's definitely a question I've been asked quite a bit in the past year. So I think it all came about one afternoon. I was having lunch by the Eitel Shack, and myself and a couple other customers that were in there, we just got into let's say, a spirited debate about the topic of legalization. And from that, after that little conversation had died down, Bushman had approached me and told me he'd actually been working on putting together like a forum or symposium. He wanted to get several different professionals from within the community. And it was a very successful event, the first one, which happened in April of last year. And he wanted me to come on the panel and speak from a business perspective, which I was very excited to do because, Mr. Gibbes, there's a revolution happening, as we acknowledged in both of those symposiums. There's a revolution happening around the world with the decriminalization of marijuana. It's been referred to in many cases as the modern-day gold rush, or CNN has called it the green rush on many different shows that they've had. It's a topic that's received a lot of coverage in the international media, and I believe we're now in a time where we're going to see a change within our lifestyle, within our lifetime. There's going to be a change where prohibition on marijuana is going to come to an end, I believe, within our lifetime. And I didn't think that would have been the case 5-10 years ago, but it's caught momentum so quickly. It's quite amazing. I was reading just the other day, in the United States now, 27 states, so that's more than half of the United States, has some form of either decriminalization or legalized marijuana, whether it's medicinal or recreational or what have you. But 27 states now have reached that point. I think all the polls in USA and Canada now suggest that the majority of their populations are in favor of legalization. So we are definitely living in changing times. And me as an aspiring entrepreneur, I would love to see our island be able to participate in this industry. This is also, I'll point out, the fastest growing industry in the United States since 2014. I don't recall the exact numbers, but it's mind-blowing how quickly this is catching on. So I would love to see St. Martin participate, as you alluded to as well. It's happening in the region as well. Jamaica has officially decriminalized possession of marijuana, and there's some large investments that have been made in Jamaica as a result. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars that have gone into to set up the foundation for this industry already from foreign investment. So, yeah, it's a revolution that's taking place. And in speaking with Bushman, our main goal, so my main goal of getting involved is to try and get this conversation going in the circles where it can actually be implemented. Yeah, we can sit around and talk in the idle shack all day. It's not going to become policy doing that. But if we speak vocally and the community starts getting involved as well, sooner or later the politicians will take up the agenda, and hopefully we can see it move towards legalization.
You know, when you look at St. Martin is still considered a very wealthy island compared to other islands in the Caribbean. And you have been in the real estate business for quite some time.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you see all types of people.
Yes.
And what has been your impression from some of the people that are coming to St. Martin in terms of if that conversation ever came up?
Well, when I'm working with clientele from around the world, I wear my real estate hat.
Yeah.
And this is not necessarily a topic.
But they'll ask you questions sometimes, though, right?
Of course. Yeah, it comes up. It's not, let's say, part of my sales pitch, if you will, when I'm selling real estate or when I'm focused on that. So, but definitely it's something that, as I mentioned, in the United States and Canada, the majority of those populations are now suggesting they're in favor of legalization. I think it's something they're exposed to back home as well. But I do believe there's a large percentage of people that visit the island that while on vacation also consume marijuana here, whether it's illegal or not. It's not necessarily stopping them, the fact that it's illegal. They're still in small quantities. It's being used on a daily basis by local and tourists on our island. So the marijuana industry already exists in St. Martin. Yeah, so we have the opportunity to perhaps start collecting tax revenues and use some of the proceeds from that industry to educate the youths as well on the dangers and the harms of it, because those are things that are needed within our community.
Yeah, because we don't promote. The thing is that we want people to get conscious. We don't promote the smoking. We promoting you cannot fight the herb. It's a medicine. You can use it for different things. And even what they do, it's still on the market. Well, now, if we can try to control it, manage it, we're going to even get problems so because the man who sell it in the block, they will get difficult now if you legalize it. Because you understand me? That means we get a lot of, doing this thing, give us a lot of confrontation. The good and the bad side, positive and negative.
Yes.
All type of people, because the man on the block don't want you to legalize it. Because how they going to make it if you got a coffee shop? You understand?
Yeah. Then they have to go legit in the coffee shop?
Yeah, that means we now got to be, this thing we got to bring it forth to edify the people and teach them that, hey, it's just a little herb. Everybody cannot smoke it. So yeah, everybody cannot drink alcohol, everybody don't smoke cigarette, they mean something. But those that want to consume it, once they can consume it consciously, hey, why make it difficult for them?
You know, what I've noticed in St. Martin is that the population is changing and their view of marijuana has changed a lot because over 4 or 5 years ago when I first mentioned on this program that I think the time has come to legalize marijuana, to decriminalize it, and didn't get any negative response at all. So that tells you already where we're going.
Yes.
The problem is that a lot of people feel that, you know, it's a substance that is dangerous to young children, according to the medical community.
Sure.
But then at the same time, you watch CNN and you see a small little child that when the parents gave it marijuana, there's a complete change.
Yes.
So, you know, there are the pros and the cons. How do you all feel about that? Anyone?
Okay. The thing is that, you know, like we have a Facebook page, Herbal Awareness XXM, where we put a lot of information about, you know, everything, yes, I mean. But people, what we can say, human being is difficult to please in different ways, yeah? But it's time to make people conscious, because we live in the 21st century and everybody know that everybody got technology. You can Google, you can do a lot of research. And like a few years ago, now everything right in front of you. Now, I say, I will be blessed to have a coffee shop, yes, because what we're doing now, if they reach so far they want to legalize it, then everybody want a license. Now, what we going now, we're getting the blows now, because everybody say, promoting marijuana is negative, all negative for us. But if they have to start to say, okay, we're going to tolerate this, you understand? We're going to give some people license, then you're going to see people you don't believe want to be in this business. Why? For the money.
But then at the same time, do you all have like a business model as to how this should be done if and when the government says?
That is where Arun come in. Because Arun, that's where Arun come in, because he have an idea already how we can get structure.
Okay, well, sure.
You can explain.
Well, yeah, there's so many examples that are taking place right now that are unfolding. What's a beautiful thing about these times is we don't have to be the first guinea pig. This has been done in different countries, different states. We can look at some of the mistakes that have happened and some of the positive things as well. And from there, we can kind of mold our own model that would be successful here in St. Martin. It's something that's tailored to our economy. In the last Herbal Awareness Symposium, I gave a little kind of brief description of a model which I think could work in St. Martin. And I'll say I'm not a politician, I'm not an economist. This is just from the school of common sense, but I accept that there could be room for improvement on whatever we're saying. Like we said, we're here to get the conversation started in the right circles. But basically, the model that I kind of envision would be that people who want to consume it, responsible adults, basically, you get like an ID card.
Yeah.
With a swipe magnetic strip that would allow you to purchase it at certain retail locations. Yeah, and those retailers would have to purchase from licensed growers as well. So now by purchasing it from licensed growers, this would stimulate local agriculture as well. We don't want to have a situation where we move towards legalization and we're stimulating drug trafficking from foreign countries.
Yeah.
That's I don't think that's a win-win formula. But if we can have it where we're stimulating local farmers, and a part of our economy that's very weak on the agriculture side. It's important to note the cannabis plant can be used for many other things, not just smoking. Yeah. So there's obviously medicinal sides of it, but there's also cosmetic sides. There's clothing. The list goes on and on. I don't even know all the uses of the plant.
Even money.
Even money. Yeah. So there's a whole manufacturing side that can possibly evolve from there as well. Then also, I think there's a personal consumption side. So I think people should be able to grow their own plants in the yard without a license or a magnetic strip, ID card, or anything of that sort. But I think that should be limited to a certain amount of plants. And if you want to grow on a bigger scale than that, then I think you need to apply for a grower's license. Yeah. So I think, that's kind of it in a nutshell. Then also, you can have businesses that pay to have a license, let's say, where people can come and consume marijuana. They're not necessarily selling marijuana, but they can have a smoker section or something like that. And you might see that popular in bars, restaurants, lounges, cafes, or a whole bunch of different settings, even bookstores perhaps. But basically then you would have people paying for business licenses just to be able to have a consumer section, let's say, of the product. But we welcome the opportunity to go before Parliament or other members of the government to, share this model and also debate it and fine-tune it. Like I said, I'm not an economist. I'm sure there are ways that it can be tweaked and improved. But there are definitely examples that we can learn from to find a formula that works here in St. Martin.
But let me ask you before, Bushman, because you're in agriculture, do you think that St. Martin can sustain a large-scale operation of producing marijuana?
Yes.
Yeah?
It's been done already. It's nothing new. It's just, you got to keep it small because, but if we can get license to open it, we can do it.
Oh, okay.
Because St. Martin has good soil and good sun.
Yeah.
And that's what you need.
I'd like to add to that. I think it's important as well that we do it in a way that creates opportunities for, let's say, aspiring local entrepreneurs, and not that it be sold out to a big conglomerate that comes in from abroad and just takes a monopoly of the whole production side. I think there's an opportunity here where you can have, we talked about different farmers having like their own brand. So you can have, the St. Peter's farm essentially competing with the Cold Bay farm or whatever, and saying the Cold Bay farm is better, than the Cahill farmer. But those farmers and small-scale plantations could create their own brand, their own identity. I think that would be better for our economy than to have one large conglomerate just come in and take over the market.
Yes, because that's what we got to watch out too, because you find a lot of people, they have the money.
Yes.
And then they can come and just control it after all the battle that we go through now.
This is a big business, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And I hope that legalization is done in a way that creates opportunities for the local business people as well. I think what's happening in Jamaica is you're seeing the industry being sold out from under them. And you're seeing, I made reference to big investments of hundreds of millions of dollars being made. And I think what you're going to see is the production side of it is going to be taken over by larger manufacturers who are going to come in and control the market. And the small farmers won't necessarily stand to benefit from that industry. But we'll see how that plays out. But I think it would be nice to see that, again, we can learn from what's happening around the world. I think it was in South America, one of the countries that are moving towards legalization, the government was going to control all the marijuana sales. And I definitely don't think we need another government-owned company on the island, especially in the marijuana industry. So, all due respect to the government-owned companies, yes. But so I would like to see it done in a way where it creates opportunities for a lot of, small or medium-sized entrepreneurs.
No, I really don't think government should get in that kind of business.
No.
What we see in St. Martin is the reason why government is in those type of business, because in the earlier days,
yes,
it was required, the harbor,
sure,
the airport, but now things have changed. But when it comes to marijuana, I agree with you, it has to be in the hands of small, local entrepreneurs, because what you're going to get, look at what's happening right now in some states in the U.S.
Oh, in Colorado, the numbers are staggering. It's mind-blowing what's happened there.
And they're making an enormous amount of money.
Yes, yes, yes.
But at the same time, there are some places in Northern California where it's becoming difficult because it's also promoting criminal activity. So how do you balance that sometimes?
Well, that's again, something we can learn from. Mm-hmm. So a big problem in the United States with the legalization is some states have legalized, but the federal government has not.
Right.
So what happens now is people who are in the marijuana industry, all their sales are in cash because the banking system won't work with them. The banks are afraid to be involved in the business. So now you have people who are in the industry with large amounts of cash, and now they run the risk of being robbed, and it also feeds back into the black market. Absolutely. So now they hire extra guns to protect themselves, and it creates, again, it's somewhere there the black market has to get involved, whether it's to move the money or what have you. In Holland is a similar situation, I believe, as well, where all the suppliers are from the black market. They supply the retail operation. So again, it's important when we do it here, again, it goes back to the local agriculture. We don't want to have a situation where we're stimulating drug trafficking where,
Yeah, you got to import.
Yes, exactly. You got to import to...
you understand? The importation will be the problem. But if you can keep it locally. You understand? And it can be done. Now, people got to ask themselves. They talk about, most of the people, they talk about the Bible. The Bible tells you herb is the heal of the nation. Mm-hmm. You understand? And God give herb for the service of man. You understand? And that may be marijuana, all type of herbs. You understand? Ain't got distinction. All them herbs is good for a human being because that is for, but if you abuse it, now, I have kids, I have children, kids, the big man, a woman, and man, and they don't smoke. They make me feel good. Not that I never tell them not to smoke. I explain them why is the reason why they don't have to smoke. Everything takes time. You understand? And when you find some people, some children think they smoke is irie, they get high, that is just because they don't know better. And it's one will influence each other to go in it. But that's why, like Arun said a while ago, if we reach so far and if we can make money out of it, we can invest this money on educating the children,
Yes.
teaching them about it. You must have an age limit before you can try to get it or smoke it. I mean, a lot of things have to be in place before we reach it, because all now, children smoking now.
Yeah.
You understand? So when you ask them what they're smoking for, they tell you, just get high, feel good. They don't know, they got no responsibility, they got nothing. Yeah.
There's, I think, a big misconception or fear that a lot of people have. Myself, I have young children as well, so I can certainly relate to what some people might fear. And they are afraid that more, usage amongst minors will go up. They're afraid that it's going to be like Woodstock, everybody smoking on every corner. And again, we have proven case studies that are out there, and this is not what's happening in the other places that have moved towards legalization. And we're definitely suggesting that it be done responsibly, where monies are definitely earmarked to go towards educational campaigns and those sort of things to educate the youth. And I just want to say, I don't think the usage would increase amongst minors. I think where you might see an increase in usage is in probably people from 40 and above, who perhaps stayed away from it because of the taboo, but as they tried, you know what, that helps in my arthritis actually. Or, I prefer it instead of my whiskey at night. I think you might see that kind of turn as opposed to an increase in youths, because I tell you what, if youths want it, it's available right now. And there's, it's not like it's hard to get within the community.
But if you drove around St. Martin yesterday, after Jovie morning,
yes,
I saw so many youths passed out. And they didn't pass out for marijuana.
That's very true. Very true. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's legal.
And quite a few of them were rushed to the hospital from what I was reading in the papers.
And girls too, not only boys.
Yeah. And it's legal.
Yeah.
You understand? Cigarette smoking. On the pack, you see that it's dangerous to kill you, but still they're selling it legal. You understand? I mean, there's a lot of things that they just want to, like, population control.
I was speaking with a lady today, and I told her that I was going to have both of you in the program. And she said, she would like to see marijuana use decriminalized. Mm-hmm. She have children, they're teenagers, and they use marijuana. And she feels that the way it is right now, because it's illegal to have it, it's illegal to grow it, it's illegal to smoke it, it is more of a problem to the teenagers than if you legalize it. So I was quite surprised hey, you have a mother saying this to me.
Right. It's interesting. It's more detrimental to her children's future for them to be caught with it than to actually smoke it.
Yeah.
And I think that really lacks logic,
Because I know a lot of people in society with educated children going to very Harvard, and the children smoking. And they're humble. Sure. I mean, now, mention a child now, maybe you find it with a spliff, you lock him up, mess up all your future just for a spliff, while they, I mean, we got to see what we're dealing with. Because sometimes we destroy our youths them and blame the parents.
Sure, because
it's a system that we're living in.
But at the same time, I just taped a program that's going to air probably this week and next week with a psychiatrist. And here you have the psychiatrist is saying that one of the biggest problems among the youth is the use of alcohol, which surprised me in St. Martin, and also the use of drugs, mainly marijuana.
Sure.
And what the negative effect is having on young people.
Sure.
Okay, one problem we have now, people say drugs, but it's the cocaine and the ecstasy that they're using. Goddamn getting on like that. Because marijuana, two things marijuana can do is make you eat out the whole house and go sleep. You understand? Yeah, put you in a meditation, make you go within yourself and check yourself. You understand? It's good for asthma, glaucoma, it's good for so much things. All type of enough things you can use it for. But we only put a negative light on it, a negative thing on marijuana. You understand? We call it drugs. You understand? But where we see all the prescription drugs, them all of them got FT effects. I do never see marijuana get FT effects and to just leave you eat and go sleep. You understand me? That means if you're young, then and we have a doctor, it's good to reach so far because we have Dr. Dan Johnson from America, who was on, and he is a brain doctor.
Yes.
A brain doctor. And that's why we bring him because he's going to tell you now that a child cannot smoke because their mind, ain't grow yet. They mature. I mean, all these things you got to check because.
So maybe that's the reason why then that we're having some problem because
I think
with our call too.
So from speaking with Dr. Dan Johnson, what he was enlightening us to is definitely on the developing brain of young teens in particular, there can be some long-term consequences. And again, although we're speaking in favor of legalization, we're not promoting the smoking of marijuana. Yeah, what we're saying is people should be entitled to do it in a responsible way if they choose to, and they shouldn't be treated as criminals for that. But we're certainly not here to endorse it and say, oh, we think all minors should start smoking marijuana because it's better than alcohol. Right. No, I would say neither of those options. But I don't think they should be treated like criminals if they do partake in that. They need to be dealt with accordingly, but not treated as criminals.
I think what a lot of people don't realize that the amount of people that are using marijuana in their home or with friends, and some of these people, if you know who they are, you'll be surprised.
Sure.
Of course.
And I think for other people, they don't want to admit that. I remember at the function you all had, I think it was last year, was it?
Last year. Yeah.
And former prosecutor Cormac was there. And I like him.
Yes.
And I like him because he wasn't pretending.
Yeah.
And he said it, I saw it, how he believed it should be used.
Yes.
And I like that because, as I said, I've never used it. I have no intention of using it. But you have to respect people's freedom and right to use. And it's a plant. And the mere fact it's a plant, and this is my logic here, compared to, say, cocaine, where you have to go and do all the processing to get to that.
It's an entirely different conversation.
Exactly. So, from that aspect, I can see. But at the same time, I understand what the doctor was telling me about young teenagers and how it can affect them mentally and so forth.
Well, what's interesting as well, we've acknowledged that the marijuana industry already exists on our island. Right. It's just, in the black market right now. But I can guarantee you there are no percentage of sales that are earmarked for educating the youth right now.
Right.
And again, that can go a long way. So perhaps a lot of the youngsters that are using it, they're unaware of the harmful effects, or they're unaware of some of the consequences of what they're partaking in. Whereas again, if we have a legalized system where you have money coming back towards the education of this, I'm not saying we'll completely eliminate usage amongst minors, but I can guarantee you over time, it'll definitely have an impact where they will look at this situation differently and hopefully make better decisions. But right now, there is no proactive effort to try or that has funding behind it to tell them or teach them the harmful effects. Yeah.
Right. You want to add something?
Yeah, because children like to experiment. I mean, you got to, we were small too.
Yeah.
At first, I remember in my life. Listen, 1982, I went first time young jail for marijuana in Curacao. And if you find me a little bit. At that time, I had my locks. They cut my first set of locks, 1982. I mean, and when I go sit and see, I say, why? They lock me. A young boy put me around some big criminals. It's good, you know what I mean? And it didn't make me no good, but it make me only,
more determined.
Yeah, more rebel because why you locking me up and I ain't doing nothing wrong?
Sure.
You understand? I mean, if I'm doing something wrong, if I come and want to abuse, but if you said bad, it's bad to me. I don't give it to nobody. You understand? Let me now. We reach a level now that we have to get. I come now and see all type of people. You understand? Gary dreadlocks, all type of people smoking marijuana, all type of things. I say, hey, how much people die and suffer for this? In the Caribbean, how much? Especially let me go now to the sacramental part of it. As Rastafari, we use it as a sacrament.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Where we do our congregations and so, that is a sacrament. We bubble a chalice and, give thanks to Jah Rastafari. You understand? Now, people take it now and do like, how much Rasta get that die? They go in the mountains, send soldiers. kill pregnant woman. All it is just because we Rasta and we planting wheat in the mountain.
That was the early days, right?
Yes, you understand? But look now, they change now. You understand me?
You know, it's interesting when you talk about it as well. The last 3 presidents of the United States have definitely gone on record and said that they smoked marijuana.
Except the Clinton, he didn't inhale.
But he still smoked it. Yeah. He still smoked. He still was in possession of it.
Yeah.
Right? He still was in possession, which, depending where he was at that time, could have resulted in his arrest.
Right.
Now, those 3 got lucky. They didn't get arrested for it. They didn't have that record. But if they had that criminal record, they would have never been president of the United States.
Exactly.
Right? So I have to wonder how many great leaders, how many people throughout history have disappeared because they were persecuted for marijuana possession? You know, we'll never know.
Exactly.
We'll never know. Yeah, but I can guarantee there's a lot of lives that have been ruined and changed.
And you know what's the same? What's ironic here? Right now, as we speak, there are people sitting in federal penitentiaries in the United States of America, serving life sentences for less than an ounce.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And then you watch television and you see people making millions of dollars today off of the same substance that they're sitting in prison for life.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is very sad.
It's a tragedy. It's a modern day tragedy, definitely.
And a lot of people you got to look up, not all over the world.
Yeah, you know, in the United States, it's more of a civil rights issue, and it's a race issue, really, because if you look at the jails in the United States, I think I was reading African Americans are 4 times more likely to be arrested than, you know, a Caucasian American, but they consume marijuana on similar levels. So there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there that essentially say it's a way of incarcerating the black population.
There's also a term that's called hemp and hemp seed. No, is that the same?
It's all the same. You know, you got Indian hemp,
plant.
Indian hemp. It's all the same around. They give it a different name. They call it weed. They call it sativa.
But they're selling hemp products right in the supermarket.
For sure, they got the hemp protein.
So not all cannabis plants are used to get high. Yeah, there's the male plant, which won't give you the same stimulation, and that's used, as I meant, for a lot in manufacturing, beauty products, protein. It's one of the best proteins. Actually, contains all amino acids, so its nutritional value is incredible. There's some 300-400 different uses that are known, and they're still learning more and more. It's interesting. In the 1930s, research in marijuana was banned. Basically, it was banned. So now I think only now they're able to start doing some real medical research, at least in the United States. Israel has really been the leaders on the medical research side of it.
I understand the plant is pretty strong too. They can make rope and all that from it.
Yeah,
everything.
absolutely.
They make oil, all type of things they make out of it. Every type of things you think they make out of it. That there's a blessed tree. The tree is a powerful tree. Why they fight it, I still asking why, because
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, because they're using it for their benefit still.
You know, Mr. Gibbs, if you Google why is marijuana illegal, you'll find 100 different conspiracy theories. But I couldn't find anything that scientifically says it's been made illegal because it does this or that to the human brain or human body.
Yeah.
There's no cases of anyone ever overdosing from marijuana. There's no recorded case of that. You don't have to look far to find statistics on how many people have overdosed from alcohol or died from cigarettes, cocaine. I mean, you can find thousands and thousands of examples on that. Very easy when you Google those questions. But Google why is marijuana legal? It doesn't make sense.
And here you have a plant. I think once the government realizes they can make some tax money out of it, things are going to change.
Well, in the presentation we gave, we showed a very conservative model that would generate annually $1 million in tax revenue, plus $600,000 for education campaigns.
On St. Martin?
On St. Martin, yes.
Let me take some calls for you all. Oral Gibbs, you're on live call. Hello.
Yeah, hello. I would like to bring up Bushman there and say we find the program interested. Yeah, hello?
Yeah, go ahead, speak. We listen to you. Bushman and Arun can hear you.
Bushman, yeah, Bush, what's going on? This is a taxi man.
Oh, God bless. Yes, enough love.
Strength, yeah, and you're watching the program, finding interested in. I would just like to see the distance how you break down that barrier and make things happen, because we under the Dutch and it's happening up there. So why the Dutch part can't have that prostitution legal? where they got a woman them selling the soul for money, and now the was a natural plant, we can't get it legal. So I hope that the justice minister and the politicians I'm listening and decide to free up the herb and leave everybody there free.
Bless.
Anyway,
Give thanks.
respect, one love, and keep the struggle going.
Give thanks.
All right, thanks, Roland.
Give thanks.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, but true. Talk
Yeah,
about Holland.
yeah.
And Holland tolerated so much
legal.
years.
Yeah.
You
It's
legal,
understand?
right? They have cafes and everything.
It's just like prostitution. Look how much whole house we got here. It's now lately started saying they're locking people up because it's human trafficking. You understand? But now, which more grave? That of marijuana, you got to know to balance it. Now, Holland, the way they say it, they say, okay, it's a soft drug. The answer, the only way is if you fail to tolerate it, so they can have chance to fight the hard drugs. You understand me? But now, St. Martin, we have all type of drugs up here. And that is what killing the people then.
But do you know
Starting with the food they eat.
But do you know, a whole lot thought about Bushman, do you know that Holland is the largest producer of synthetic drugs in the world?
I didn't know that, but I believe it, yeah.
Holland, the largest. And can you imagine if St. Martin was producing synthetic drugs? What would have happened?
Oh,
You know, but the whole thing about it, I'm
Yeah.
not justifying
Talk about
anything
double
here.
standard, yeah.
But it's just that all the ecstasy and all these different
All the
pills,
things,
etc.,
all
are
the-
produced in Holland.
Yeah.
And the substance that's used to process cocaine, that chemical, what do you think
Yeah, man,
is the
that is-
biggest
yeah,
producer of
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Also, our mother
So
Holland.
imagine how bad our image would be tarnished if we were
was
the
doing that.
manufacturers
Yeah,
of that.
yeah.
Yeah, we can imagine.
And we don't fight for nothing that man made. It's just a seed you plant, water it, give it love, and it grow.
Right.
And give you buds in due time. Do you understand?
But you mentioned something earlier, maybe it's good to maybe go back. You were mentioning food. And
Yeah, food.
Yeah.
Food is the biggest drug industry now is food. People talk about, we can mention it because it's $1 billion industry. McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, all that food they're making. Their food them don't grow.
It's not even good for your health.
Their food them don't grow. They don't grow. They make them for you.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Manufactured.
In China, Japan, you see they're making vegetables now, cabbage, and they're making that. You understand? They're making plastic rice.
Yeah, which is dangerous for you.
Yeah, but still, people proudly going to buy them. Go to the supermarket. You see the parents there with the carrier, that thing there, full of canned food.
Yeah.
It's drugs you carry and poison you carry in it. We get a lot of diabetes, blood pressure, sugar, all that type of
Cancer.
things. How are we going to get them? In through the air? No, it's the food we eating. I mean, marijuana heal a lot of that things down that they put in their body. Still, they have to go, in the end, they got to still go to marijuana to get healed. It's something really strange because enough people will come and tell you, hey, can you get some, I had the pressure. The doctor self tell me, man, if you drink some tea of it, it's good. And where they come? They come with the Rasta man now.
So when you make tea from, what color is it?
It depends because when you don't boil no bush, you draw bush. I mean, when you boil the water and throw it in it, leave it draw for a few minutes, it's in light green. Depends, depends how fresh it is.
And I understand they make cake too and all that.
They make cake, they make everything with it.
Yeah.
Everything.
You
Well, in
understand?
Colorado, it's a big industry now. They have candies.
And cookies, all that.
So it's a little
Cookies.
controversial because, if they're marketing that to children or not. But they have all, edibles is a huge business in the United States now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in other words, when you have candies and cakes and so forth, does that give a high or?
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
like a night like tonight in the festival village, while they say already you're going to come search for drugs and so, you hit the candy going there nice and everybody. Yeah, you understand? You hit a piece of cake, you have to smoke. You understand? You got to walk with the video because look, the whole thing that they thinking is only the smoking. While we know that smoking is not good, but you can still drink the tea. It's medicine.
Yeah.
You can eat it as medicine.
You know what's actually interesting? I had a doctor friend of mine who just visited Colorado, and he told me he was very against the marijuana movement, and he became a believer when he got a sports cream. He had a little ankle injury, and he was using it for the pain relief, and he was blown away. He couldn't believe it. He used it thinking that, to disprove that, oh, it's just gimmick, and he was amazed that it actually helped with as an anti-inflammatory on his injury. So yes, they're using it in creams, they're using it on so many different things.
So medicinally, it's very powerful.
The medicinal side of it is really becoming groundbreaking now, because now some of the barriers have been taken down where they can research it a little bit more thoroughly. And the medicinal side, I think in the coming decade, we're going to see some medicinal breakthroughs coming from this plant,
Because, like we said a while ago, herb is the healer of the nation. We have to go back, and like Arun was saying, cultivating, farming. Because once you can start farming the herb, but then you can farm the food too, because you need to eat good. That's the first thing, you understand?
Also, to touch on the medicinal side of it as well, again, there's a misconception. You spoke earlier about something perhaps you saw on CNN, I think, where you saw parents giving it to the children. There were people, that was in a case, I think, of epilepsy, where there were children that were having thousands of seizures a week, and they started taking the oil that was extracted from the plant, and their seizures went down to like 1 or 2 per month. And that oil that they take, the children are not getting high. So it's not parents getting their children high. There's no THC in the oil. It's only the CBD, which works within the system. And so it's not, again, there's a misconception that how can a parent get their children high kind of thing. That's not at all what's happening at all. The plant is just fascinating. It's amazing, actually, what all can be done from the cannabis plant. So just wanted to touch on that, clarify that.
We got to really get conscious now in this 21st century. You understand? Because everything right there, you can go. That's why we have a page on Facebook, Herbal Awareness XXM. We want people to go check it too. Because it's really interesting. We got a lot of information in.
It's Herbal Awareness
XXM. You understand? You got a lot of information, and
very, very interesting articles I saw on that page.
What about one of the concerns, and here's my concern, that if marijuana is legalized, I don't want to be standing on the side of the road and somebody comes up and standing next to me and smoke it because I don't like the smell of it. Or I'm in a building and that is my concern.
It's the same thing like we're going through now with cigarette. You understand? That means everything got to be arranged. Certain place you cannot smoke. You understand? Or you got to keep it in your privacy.
I think it should definitely be restricted to
if you got, like
spaces,
if you got maybe a lunch, a place you can go and smoke legally, you got to do it in your house, in your privacy.
So it should be designated areas or in the privacy.
You got to be arranged
home.
Because I self the certain place I go. I don't want to go and people the cigarette smoke blowing at me. I smoke. I don't smoke on the road and so because I know on public road then is where you get problem with the people. You understand? I mean, it's a lot of things we have to go through and see that. Hey, I don't afraid to go to jail for marijuana. No, because I go for herb, for nature. You understand? But for me to kill somebody, I feel hard to go to jail for that. You understand? Because of that in my hand. Marijuana is that in my hand. You understand? I mean, it's things we got to get conscious and know that. Fighting the truth will always confuse us more. That's why enough people confused, because they're fighting the truth.
So when you go look at cigarettes, that was something where in the 1980s, even up in 1990s, I can remember people were free to light up anywhere, on airplanes, anything. It was just widely accepted. And then I guess as the research started to come out and show the links to cancer, people became more conservative, say, I don't want my, and the battle became where now it's not really socially accepted to light up in a cigarette anywhere. With marijuana, it's going to be a little different because with cigarettes, we're kind of working backwards from where it was everywhere. Now we're trying to scale it back. Whereas in marijuana, we're going to be introducing it. So automatically you introduced it systematically to say it's confined to this space or that space or to your home. But it has to be done responsibly, which is something we've said from the beginning. So
it got to be arranged because you can do nothing just to say you're doing.
We don't want to see St. Martin turn into a Woodstock concert 24/7. It's got to be done responsibly.
Everybody walk around high.
And tourist-wise, enough tourists now, we can get, we can call tourists.
Marijuana tourism.
Yeah, marijuana tourism.
Business. Big
You know how much money we make when the boat then come here, they know maybe, they even can maybe have a lunch on the harbor. You know how much people will go there?
Marijuana tourism is big business.
Yes.
If you look at what's happening in Amsterdam, Holland, which has decades and decades of proof of marijuana tourism, as well as Colorado. Again, the numbers are off the charts, what you see in Colorado. Anybody can go Google that and you'll see the millions and billions that are being produced there. But I think it's going to be interesting as the world moves more towards legalization, which again, I strongly believe is going to be happening in our lifetime. I think the nostalgia of going somewhere just to smoke marijuana is going to die down, and you'll see marijuana tourism is going to change. Right now, it's people want to go somewhere that they can smoke freely, and that's the marijuana tourism. But it's going to become much more sophisticated, I think, in the next decade or so, where you would see, similar to like wine vineyards or something like that. You have people traveling there to sample the wine, see how it's manufactured, etc. I think you'll see marijuana vineyards, and people will visit certain plantations, and you'll have some in very chic environments, and some will be maybe more simple, more nature oriented.
So we do like Chile in Argentina, just like we really have it for marijuana.
Exactly. No, seriously, yes. The major grow operations will become like a vineyard.
And Samaj is a powerful small island already.
Yes.
If we do that, how much people will be coming here alone?
In Colorado, they have now these like very trendy like wine bars and stuff like that, where they have the marijuana being served in vaporizers, and you can infuse it into your drinks. We're the gourmet capital of the Caribbean. We brag about all the restaurants. Food is a natural complement to marijuana as well, huh? So I think it could be a great complement to a lot of businesses here.
There are a lot of potentials that
incredible.
It has potential, and we know it. Like I as a smoker, a year smoking, I ain't turned out yet. You understand? I just get more wise to see how the system can just turn everything upside down just to control you.
Let me take a call for you. All right. Oral Gibbes Live, your caller. Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, it sounds a bit far, but I'll try my best.
Go ahead. We hear you very clear.
Listening to your conversation about the marijuana. It sounds interesting, but my only concern is where will it all end? I think it's gone mad. There's something said, increase of knowledge is also increase of pain. So too much knowledge makes people look, I don't know what to say, foolish. And that's why, indeed, a little child will lead these people, because this so much knowledge is the height of ignorance. So we have to help the little children to lead the foolish adults. That's what I have to say.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I think I got to go to a break. All right?
I don't understand that. I don't understand where she goes. Huh?
Okay.
Another parable.
No, but a parable. The children lead the foolish adult. Children, innocent children. Adult already got experience of life and know what's up and down.
Don't try to figure out.
Yeah. Thank you, caller.
Thank you, caller. Yes.
And the thing about it is I've been normally a very liberal and progressive person most of my life, and I don't like to see people abused. And I can remember as a little boy going to Antigua with my mother and seeing how they abused the first Rasta man in that island many, many, many years ago. And now today, look at Rasta man is all fashionable.
Rasta fashion dreads.
Oh, I mean, dread, whatever. I saw a Caucasian guy yesterday, the Rasta man. I mean, there's all the.
And Rasta man was black man redemption. It's just a black man liberation. Now white people think and make it bigger than us too. because when you see Americans, so much of the hippie, I call them hippie. All the hippie them there, they is the one promoting more the marijuana.
So you see how things
you know what I mean? But we, as a black man, because I got a Rasta, my own people then persecute me.
But it's changing now, though, right?
It's changing a little, but still because it's in fashion. All type of people with locks, and they know nothing about what we're suffering, how much people die for it, how much people suffer for it.
Yeah.
Like marijuana, how much people suffer for marijuana, for innocently, just because of herb. Some people, because they got mouth, they just talk.
Yeah.
But we got to start to get conscious of life. And if you want a peaceful world, a peaceful society, you got to learn to respect people, and everybody got their own choices.
But they've been persecuted in the Caribbean, a lot.
And still they're doing it. You understand me? And when maybe they lock you up, slow you down and then after what? Sometimes they even tell you sorry after they release you. You understand? Because they know what they're doing is not good. You understand? I said jail for marijuana already. I know how it is. You understand? And now I can see all type of people, you know. And this, it's like, you know, people driving the car and smoking. You understand me?
And now you're watching America, some states.
I remember when we used to walk in the bush with one spliff and more than 10 men smoking, 2 drugs. I remember that the times. One spliff, you go all in the bush. You understand? That means, if we see now how they have it, I mean, the only thing for we to learn now to make it more easy for everybody, let me try to control it, tolerate it, and let me see how we can make it better.
And do it responsibly.
Yeah, better for people. Those who want to use it, you know,
So
just like you smoke cigarettes, you buy alcohol, everything. Yeah, but
Tax it, educate people about it, and let it be done responsibly, because it's not going to stop.
you're going to stop. You're
People are not going to stop using it.
You're going to stop
anyway.
it. Only thing you can continue to do, continue to lock up people.
It's been consumed for thousands and thousands of years. Yeah, way before it was illegal, it's been wild. And even since they made it illegal in the 1930s, it's still being consumed.
And most time is the poor and needy they're locking up.
Yeah.
Because those themselves who bring in the
can't fight
imported, the big one, them, all of them is the same one.
Yeah.
You understand? It's the poor and needy.
So
It's
now,
what most times suffering.
so now when you look back at the last year, and how do you view St. Martin today and St. Martin's openness towards legalization of marijuana?
I believe the community is open to legalization, or at least for the conversation about it. I think we lost maybe a little momentum from the 2 seminars we had, partly due to changes in government. I guess that's the ultimate audience that we're striving for.
Right.
And with some of the changes that were happening, that audience was not available to us. But we're certainly grateful for this opportunity, and for all the viewers that have tuned in and listened. It's definitely time for the conversation. My gut feeling is the majority of the people in this country are in favor. I think most people can see the benefits that it would bring to the economy, to the resources. Why waste police resources on fighting this? We have other issues that they can be tackling within the community. And it's certainly, I think, of high importance that we educate our youths as well about the risks and the dangers and how to consume it if they choose to at a responsible age. So, yeah, I think the community definitely has open ears for it, and I think it's the right time to be having this conversation.
And a year ago when we do it, we was humble enough and respectable enough to invite all the parliamentarians. But you was there, and you know how much you see.
I didn't see any.
You understand? Now, if it's something good that they know they're there to serve the people on the island, you must know when we come with a topic like this, is something that people see as a taboo, to be there, to hear for yourself, and then for you to know next step, how we're going to deal with it. After, they talk a lot in the newspaper like they was there. But now them was there, you understand? To hear what we have to give up for themselves to give the input. That's why now we hope one day, that we sent a letter in already a few weeks ago. We hope we can get a chance, because we change our government all the time. It's a confusion too. Yeah. They got to stop jumping and you understand that.
That's a whole lot of program.
That's a lot of confusion. But if we can get a chance, though, we could go bring a presentation for them. We will have the doctor coming from America for that too, when we're ready for that, because we want to talk about what you can do with your brains and so. It's important for people to know. And just like we just talk about smoking, now we want to edify the people there, educate them, make them conscious of it. And it's not for everybody. But for those them who want to use it, live it, be blessed.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming in and being my guest this evening here in Oral Gibbes Live, and wish you all much success with your effort to try and legalize marijuana.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
And God bless you, and blessing to all the TV viewers. And I hope they get a better understanding what we're talking about or where we're coming from. Blessings.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. And that's it for now. I'll see you next time. Until then, good night. Take care. Bye.